right. Sorry about that. How do you spell? How do you spell and pronounce your name with your title with the organization that you're with?
So it's David Weiss, Weiss like ice, Weiss. And the organization is my organization. It's called, I could call it the Flat Earth Dave is my website, flatearthdave.com.
So you'd be the founder, creator of that.
No, I wouldn't even, yes, I would, but I wouldn't categorize it that way. When you say what organization you're with, you know, when people Google Flat Earth, they end up at the Flat Earth Society, and that is a intelligent or government disinformation site. It's to make people look at Flat Earth and never want to look at it again because it's ridiculous. So the only people that look at the Flat Earth Society are people that don't know what Flat Earth is. They look there and they go, oh, Flat Earth is ridiculous. You know, Flat Earth Society claims that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second. Nobody believes that, right? Except globe believers believe, Flat Earth researchers believe that. We don't. Our model is very simple. And, you know, we're called science deniers because, you know, the accepted science is that we live on a spinning globe. It's been known for thousands of years. All of that's lies, except it is the accepted science, but it's not science. It's pseudoscience because they have actual no science. We're not science deniers. We hold science's feet to the fire. Okay. We actually use the scientific method, but the heliocentric globe model does not. Flat earthers know more about the globe model than people that laugh at flat earth, because if they knew a quarter or a tenth of what we know about the globe model, they would be flat earthers. Okay. I can continue.
So break it down for me to somebody who has never heard of it before at all. Like very, very basically what people believe, what it is, some very basic terms.
Yeah, well, I'll go very, very basic.
If you're explaining it to a 10-year-old.
Okay. So this is a balloon that we sent up to 120,000 feet. That's about 20 miles. And the Earth is below us. Now, the Earth is supposedly spinning at 1,000 miles an hour below us. But when this balloon came down 3 hours later, it landed very, very close to where it took off. So how is that even possible? So this is reality, demonstrable reality with a small local sun and a stationary Earth. This is just up on a balloon swinging, swinging around. So the heliocentric model, which is the globe model, says that we're on a ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So when you're watching a sunset or a moonset in Alaska, you have to believe that you're falling over backwards and the moon and the sun are just appearing to go down because you're falling over backwards on a ball. That's the heliocentric model. We're also orbiting around the sun in an elliptical orbit, speeding up and slowing down, with an average speed of 66,600 miles an hour. That's a funny number that shows up a lot in the heliocentric system. We're also chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. Let me put that into context for you. Anybody can do this. Go on YouTube, look up the hypersonic sled track. And this is a rocket sled that you can't even see it, and it goes by. And the sound is shocking when you see it. And that's Mach 8.6. That means 8.6 times the speed of sound. Okay? Here it comes again. You can't even see it. You can't fathom what twice that speed is. Okay? But if you believe that you live on a ball, you have to believe that this giant rocky ball that's surrounded with water, that's surrounded with air, with nothing to contain it from the vacuum, the void, the no pressure of space, is going 10 times this speed around the sun and 100 times this speed chasing the sun. But when we go out into nature, we see things like this. Now, this is water at rest. Large bodies of water at rest scientifically prove that the Earth is flat. They lie flat. There is no curved water at rest. Now, any large body, a drop of water, yes, it has surface tension. But anything bigger than a gallon of water at rest lies flat. Water needs containment, right? If you have a bathtub and the side of the tub is missing, the water's gone. If you had a pond and one side of the pond was missing, the water's gone. A lake is a bigger pond. The world's oceans are a bigger lake. Okay? So what do I mean by that? The flat Earth is simply this. Here's our water. It's contained. All of the continents are all of the islands. Just call them islands. The North Pole is right at the center. And the shoreline, which is the highest land on Earth. Did you know that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth? They don't teach you that in school. Okay. Is the containment of our pond, period. Nobody is allowed to independently explore beyond 60 degrees south. Right? They want us to believe that Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of the ball, a ball around 12,000 miles in circumference, but no one's ever been able to circumnavigate it. The last person that tried was Captain Cook. He took him 3.5 years and he went over 68,000 miles. The equator is only 24,900 miles around. How did he go 68,000 miles? Okay. But when you look, the equator is about halfway from the center here. So that's 24,000. So this makes sense, 60, 70,000 miles around, right? What's out here in the outer space? We can speculate all day, but we don't need that to prove that the Earth is flat. The Earth is scientifically provably non-rotating. Every experiment for axial rotation, the Earth rotates on its axis. That's what they tell us, has failed and proved the opposite. Every scientific measurement for curvature has failed and showed us the option. And the arguments that people come up with, what about boats over the horizon? What about seasons? What about sunsets over the ocean? I've seen the sun go down. These are longer conversations and I'm happy to get into them. But all it is, when you see the sun going down, it's due to perspective. Okay. You know, if you have a bunch of streetlights above you and you're on a straight road and you're looking at the streetlights, what do they look like? They look like they're going down as you move, as they go down the road, right? Here we go. Some streetlights right here. Whoops, that's not it. What happened to my? Oh, that's not it. So streetlights appear to go down. Here we go. Here's the image I was looking for, right? They look like they're going down, right? And it's the same thing with the luminaries in the sky. As the sun goes away, it looks like it's going down, right? So let me show you a slightly longer example of this, and it's very easy, right? So we see in perspective, the sky ramps down to our eyesight, the ground ramps up, and the walls, the sides ramp in, and everything goes to the vanishing point. We learn this in art. So here's a guy standing. This is his eye level. And I throw this mountain in front of him. Now, here's the sun. As the sun starts going away, it's just going beyond the mountain. Just like if you were standing out on a street, you had a 10-story building across the street, the sun's above your head, and it's moving away. As it passes the building, you can't see it anymore. It's behind the building, but you know that it's above the building. You know that the building is just blocking it. You know that the mountains are just blocking the sun as it goes farther away. And if you got up high, you'd be able to see the sun again. So now, when we move the mountain into the distance and it gets smaller, we can see the sun again. Okay. So now as the sun goes away, now first remember this, what looks like it's at your eye line, this horizon is thousands of feet above his eyes. And the sun is way above that. So as the sun moves away, it looks like it's setting, but it's going just beyond the building, just like the building across the street, beyond the mountains. And if we add the clouds in here, now we have another layer, an atmospheric layer. And even without clouds, atmosphere becomes opaque over 100 miles or so. It just becomes opaque because it's like looking across an Olympic swimming pool underwater. You can't see the other wall. So the clouds are merging into the horizon. The sun is above that. It just goes beyond the clouds. Now you have to remember that this mountain, this horizon, this horizontal eye zone, horizon comes from the word horizontal, is thousands of feet above his eyes. These clouds are thousands of feet above the mountain. They still look like they're at eye level, and the sun is above that. And as it goes away, it just goes beyond. That's how the sun sets. That's not a conspiracy theory. That is actual science. That is how we see. That is how the world works. It's that simple. We have done tons of laser experiments where we put lasers on ice, on frozen lakes, 5, 10, 15 miles apart, in a line, and we can see all the lasers on the same plane when the far laser should have been like 40, 50 feet below the curve, right? We have all of this stuff. We've done all the work. The problem is the people that deny flat Earth just won't look at it. They won't bother to look. They just go, oh no, it's too stupid to look at. And I was that guy too. I didn't believe it at all. So the other big one that people's come up with, and you in Alaska, is like, I've seen boats go over the horizon. Well, that's not true at all. When you're looking out, if the world is the size that they tell us, 24,901 miles in circumference, that means at 3 miles, there should be 6 feet of curvature using their math. Very simple math. Curvature formula says there's a 6-foot drop at 3 miles. There's a 60-foot drop, 66-foot drop at 10 miles, a 6,000 plus foot drop that's over a mile at 100 miles. Okay, that's how much curvature there would be. So if you're standing at the edge of calm water, 6-foot tall guy standing at the edge of calm water, perfectly calm, perfectly clear, not a single wave, the farthest that geometric horizon could be is 3 miles. Then you couldn't see the water because it's behind a physical curve. If there's any waves at all, those waves are going to create a false horizon, just like this. You don't see any boats out here, but we're zooming in just a foot above the water. And all of a sudden we can see these boats. And this is not the horizon. These are waves in the foreground making these boats disappear. Look, this boat's not going behind a curve. It's just behind a false horizon. Okay, you can see water way, way in the distance, and then the air becomes opaque, makes it you can't even see how far you can see because the air becomes opaque. This is not behind a curve. This is behind a swell. And these swells you can't even tell. Right? So another thing, we can look above water. If we look at where is it? Canigou Mountain. There's a place in Aluja, France, called where you can view Mount Canigou. Okay, no, that's not it. 1 second. Okay, so Mount Canigou is 175 miles away. So here we are. We're looking for Mount Canigou. We can't see it. It's 175 miles away. From this altitude, at that distance, the globe math says that the very, very top of the highest peak on Mount Canigou would be over a half a mile below the curve. A half a mile below the curve. So you can't see it. Glober will look at this and go, Earth is a globe, can't see it. But what do we see? Can you see something at nighttime with no light? No. You can only see it during the day when light is bouncing off of it. Okay, we understand that. That's very simple. Okay, the light that's bouncing off of Mount Canigou isn't strong enough to push through the thickness of the atmosphere for 175 miles, but the sun itself is. And the sun travels between the two tropics. I'll show you that in a moment. 6 months to the Tropic of Cancer for our northern summer, and 6 months to the Tropic of Capricorn for our northern winter. But twice a year, it lines up with Mount Canigou and that viewing spot. And as the sun travels beyond Mount Canigou, it backlights it. And all of a sudden you can see it because the sun's light can push through, right? This highest point right there should be over a half a mile below the curve, okay? A half a mile below the curve, right? And the only thing that the heliocentric cult followers will say is, oh, refraction's magically making it go up and stop at your eye level, okay? The sun is already set and the mountain's already below the curve, but magical refraction is making things appear from behind. That never happens. Nothing appears from behind. When you're trying to look at sea level, the air is very thick, but if you go up higher, you can see much farther. But you always, in the curve calculator, higher you are, the farther you can see on a flat Earth and on a globe Earth. So you have to take that into account. From this viewing spot, we can see 8 mountaintops, okay? In the right position, in the right shapes. We can see most of the mountain, most of it, okay? From this spot, globe math requires the tops of these mountains to be 40 miles below a physical curve. You can't see my mouth because it's behind a physical curve. Zooming in will not help you see it because it's behind a physical curve. But the world that we live in doesn't have a physical horizon. The horizon is an optical place. It's an apparent position. Let me say it one more time. The tops of these mountains should be over 40 miles below the curve. And guess what mainstream science says about this? Nothing. They won't touch it because they can't, because their entire model falls apart from this one photo alone. And this is something that you can go do yourself. Okay. You know, and you being in Alaska, there's lots of stuff you can do in Alaska. You know, the 24-hour sun in December. Have you ever seen the 24-hour sun? Can I ask?
We're about 1,000 miles too far south. So during that time,
Right.
it's 19 hours of daylight.
Yeah, well,
or 19 hours of sunshine. It's really 24 hours of daylight, but it's 19 hours of direct sunlight.
So how that works is this. So we have this outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn, where the sun is traveling out there. It's going to be summer in Australia soon. And the inner, in June, the inner Tropic of Cancer, that's when the sun is as close as it can be to Alaska. And so, as I just showed you, if you're following, the sun doesn't set because of the spin of the Earth. The sun sets because of the distance it gets away from you. Just like you can't see a street light 5 miles down the road, it just merges into the horizon. And that's even without the atmospheric layer looking at a celestial object, right? You know, a street light's really a terrestrial object. Okay. So when you're in Alaska right here, look, the sun's really never getting that far from you. Let me bring it to June. Sorry. Where are we? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So in June, the sun is all the way close to Alaska. So that's why you have these really long days, because the sun really isn't that far. But if you're in Norway or 1,000 miles north, you're never too far from the sun for it to set. Okay. Now you have a 24-hour sun in Alaska. So there should be in December a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and everybody thinks that there is because we're told that there is. But there's only 3 faked videos, clearly faked CGI nonsense of a 24-hour sun. Nobody sees the 24-hour sun. There are very long days that's explainable on a longer format show. But what I'm showing here is the key to learning about flat Earth. This app bypasses what they're hiding from you. If you Google flat Earth, which many of you do, you're going to get fed only propaganda. You've probably seen me on a horrible debate with this guy that calls himself professor, and they're pushing that. But in reality, if you watch it and analyze what he says and what I say, you'll be like, why is a scientist who's not a scientist actually acting that way? Okay, and then you'll understand. You will not find your real flat Earth videos. And even if you watch a whole bunch of good ones, like go to my channel, which is DITRH, stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Watch 5 or 10 videos, then go to your YouTube search history. They'll be there, but then search for them and they disappear. So any good flat Earth videos that you may have watched in the past are not in your search history anymore. Okay. And here's the other thing. One day someone's going to watch this, they're going to try it, and it's actually going to work because they listen to us and they constantly make changes. We said, you know, oh, people like, have you ever flown on an airplane? I can see the curvature. And then we proved that you can't see it. So then they moved the globe post to 70,000 feet. You got to be in a MiG fighter. And they showed us the Mythbusters showing us curved Earth. But then we showed all the cameras were fisheye lenses and looking through curved windows, except one camera wasn't. And it showed a perfectly eye-level flat horizon. So then he goes, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out. He goes, well, you have to go up, to 120,000 feet. Okay, that's 20 miles to see the curve. And we send balloons up, which I showed you before. It's completely flat. So he comes out again and says, oh, you can't see it from that height. So they just keep moving the globe post, right? And if anyone remembers the Red Bull jump, this is it. Felix jumped out. He said he saw a curved Earth. Now, did he get paid to say that, or did he actually see a curved Earth through his curved goggles that he had on? I'm thinking he just saw a curved Earth. But if we actually analyze this, which nobody really thinks about doing, and we see all the rivers and landmarks, and this is all New Mexico. I didn't know New Mexico was close to half the planet. Okay, this is just a fisheye lens, which curves straight lines, right? And the funny thing is the Red Bull, if you take that and put it on a picture, a supposed picture of the globe, that's the curve of the Earth. Okay, that makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense, right? At that height, right? This is ground level. This is what Google Earth, says. Okay, ground level, your horizon is right here, and at that height, the horizon should drop that much. But the camera behind his head when he climbed in showed a horizon here, and at 127,000 feet, the horizon was at the same level. You might even argue that it's higher. Okay, it's at the same level. That's because the Earth is flat. Shall I continue?
So all of these graphics you're showing in the presentation,
Yeah.
They're all, you created them all, right? You have rights to them all.
Yeah, absolutely. These are all public domain or mine. Absolutely, 100%.
Because I love the visuals. I'll definitely be able to use them for my story.
No, you can. These are, a lot of them are mine. This flatter.
So after this, at some point in time, I'm going to send you a photo release so we can simply use your graphics with courtesy to you at some point in time. But I have a ton of questions, but really because of time, I have to boil it down to just a few questions, and all Alaska centric, of course. So for all of the people who are curious about this theory in Alaska, which is something like these different radio stations, and the UK Daily Mail has pointed to a study saying that Alaskans are very interested in this theory. What do you say to Alaskans who, in the theory that you subscribe to, it looks like Alaska is at the center of this Earth, if the Earth was flat, right? So could that have something to do with how interested people are about this here?
Oh, 100%. Because you're in Alaska, and because in June, especially when the sun is moving at its slowest 360, it's traveling at a much slower speed than it is when it's out over the Tropic of Capricorn. You can clearly see that the sun is just moving away, and not that you're spinning over backwards. Okay, when you watch a sunset, you can see, if you open your eyes and get rid of the indoctrination, that the sun is literally just moving away over a flat stationary plane. Here's one that was done in Afghanistan, and the sun is just literally sitting there. It's not going down. It's just going away. This is clear, dry temperature, no humidity, and the sun's just going away. And the reason I have Paul McCartney up here is because he's saying the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head sees the world spinning around. Okay.
So talk about Alaska a little bit, where Alaska is, and why do you think people would be so interested in it here?
Alaska is in the let me pull this up. Hold on. So give me a second. So this is my app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Alaska's in the center, which is in the Arctic Circle. So I say everything inside of the Tropic of Capricorn is in the Arctic, because the sun is arcing around, and it's a perfect clock, right? And everything outside of the Tropic of Capricorn is the Antarctic, because when you're out here, the sun doesn't arc around you. It comes towards you and away from you. So it's the Antarctic. So in Alaska, you can witness the 24-hour sun. And if you were another 1,000 miles north, for 1 week every month, you'd be able to see the 24-hour moon. That never happens in the South, in the Antarctic, okay? Because if the Earth is a globe, there would have to be symmetry 6 months apart, right? There would have to be symmetry. When the sun goes out to their summer solstice, it would have to do the same thing that we have. In Alaska, I believe as far as 85 degrees north, you have animals and trees and people and all sorts of stuff. In the South, I think it's 60 degrees south. There's nothing except some penguins. Okay. There's nothing. right? Well, that doesn't make any sense because it would have to have symmetry if we lived on a globe, right? And the other thing is, the big thing is, you know, when people say, oh, what about seasons? Seasons are fully prove the earth is flat, not the other way around. What about satellites? We can completely debunk satellites if we had time. Why does it matter? And that's the big question that people have to get to. And on my app, if you go to the question mark page, there's a why the lie? If you click why the lie, there's some great videos there. But the truth is, if you don't know where you are, if you don't know that you're not on a speck of dust flying through an infinitely godless or distant God universe, that can be taken out by an asteroid, that we're running out of fossil fuels, okay? If you believe that we're overpopulated, all of this stuff, then you've given away your God-given power. But when you understand that you're at the center of creation and that we have incredible natural rights, God-given rights, you kind of take your power back. The world is in a really messed up place right now. And that's because people are lost in space, spinning out of control. They don't even know where they are. And we're trying to bring that back. All of our history is a lie. We have tons of information on what happened with the reset that happened in the 1800s. We have an entire civilization you never taught about in school worldwide that's buried below our feet. You never taught about it in school. It's not a theory. They're digging it up every day. They're finding it everywhere. There's examples everywhere. You know, there's pyramids in Alaska. One of the biggest pyramids in the world is in Alaska, but it's buried.
So I understand that in the nature of what you do, there's a ton of people out there who debate you all the time, who argue with you, who try to prove you wrong, of course. So obviously, you know, in the nature of what you do, there's a ton of people out there who continuously poke holes, try to poke holes in what you believe. And so there are people out there who, you know, you will never convince otherwise in the science community. It's just the fact. So what I'm saying, by the way, the reason why I'm laying out the context in that way is there a spirit of open-mindedness that people can at least draw from this conversation? In other words, if somebody watches this and you'll never change their mind no matter what you do or whatever, or is there at least a spirit of open-mindedness that people can say when they look at different theories and different beliefs that fall outside of their established beliefs, that it's healthy to have a conversation that um, that leads people into being at least open-minded to other ideas and beliefs.
So there's a few types of people in this world. There's people that can. Well, there's a great saying. I'm gonna mess it up, but people that can see when they're shown, people that can see when they're shown, and people that will never see. Right. So you split those people up. And there's a lot of people that are just no idea. Then they point it out and they pick this up in an hour. They're like, wow. And then they research for the rest of their lives. And there's other people that you have to really show them more and more and more. And then they take the time and they look and they're like, wow. And then there's other people that say, I'm not looking. No matter what you say, I'm not going to believe you. I'm not going to look at anything that would prove otherwise. I mean, just that shot of the 700 miles, that would do it. Okay. And so there is a great factor of cooperation, and we're waking up people every day. This is called the Friend Finder. It's on my app, and these are just the people that have my app. Okay, just here in the United States. Let's look at Alaska, right? So Alaska's slowly waking up. Just not too long ago, there wasn't many up here, but people are waking up in Alaska to the flat Earth. So every blue dot on here is a full-on flat earther, and I'm sure there's dozens and hundreds of others that don't have it per blue dot. We even got a couple people way up here.
There's a lot of people in Alaska who don't have the internet or the extent of access to technology as the rest of the country.
Sure. So again, where can people go? Oh, if they don't have internet at all, they're going to have
real quick. I want to bring it back to that question. Regardless of what people believe at the end of the day, there's some value in being open-minded to new ideas, right?
Sure. Yeah. So if you're closed off, if you say, hey, the science is settled, you're never going to expand your mind. I believe that we're here to explore and increase the mind of the collective creator. I believe we're all connected. We're all one, and we're here to expand our minds and to have new experiences. But if you're like, all right, I live on a ball, and we're running out of everything, you've limited your thoughts. You've limited everything. Your thoughts create your reality. And if they can put your thoughts in a ball, then they've seriously cut you off from your manifestation ability. Okay.
So, Dave, I think it would be accurate to say that a lot of people stigmatize geocentric Earth people or flat Earth people as people who are denying science. But what you said in an earlier conversation with me is that you look at it more as a community of people who are challenging current science. And in the spirit of being open-minded, at the very least, if you can't convince 1,000 people in a room of your theory, no matter what you do, or you can't change people's minds again, it is healthy for people in general to be open-minded to other beliefs out there, right?
Well, again, belief is the enemy of knowing. Beliefs are easy. You believe I live in Connecticut, but you don't know it. You'd have to verify it, and that takes time and effort, right? And so people can believe whatever they want, but knowing is much more satisfying. Knowing, your soul knows that the earth is flat, knows that you're at the center of creation, knows that you're a powerful manifester, right? But they've convinced you that you're weak and nothing and you need government to control you, okay? So when you free yourself of this matrix, this control matrix, it is an amazing, amazing thing. And when you open your mind to reality, the world is far more interesting. The word boring is completely eliminated from all flat earth researchers because we're never bored, right? We're always looking and seeing new things and investigating. And someone goes, hey, Dave, here's a flat earth proof. Hold on. Let me verify that. I'm not going to just go, oh man, that's great because it fits my belief, or it fits what I'm trying to do. Flat earthers hold the scientific method feet to the fire. Okay. So things fall in three baskets. One, it works on a flat earth only. Two, it works on a flat earth and a globe earth, like circumnavigation east and west works on both. And three, works on a globe earth. The funny thing is, in the 10 years I've been doing this, 0 items have fallen into that last basket. 0 things only work on a globe earth. 0. Okay. So one of the people say, well,
I'm running out of time, so I've got to ask just a couple more questions and then move on.
Okay.
Running out of time. Is there any compromise in this conversation? In other words, I've heard from people anecdotally over the years that you can talk about that second category that works on both models. Well, that would to me imply that it's not either, that there's some alternate. You see what I'm saying?
No, that so again, we're willing to learn anything new, but what you don't understand is circumnavigation, right? If the North Pole's here and I want to leave the West Coast and go west isn't that way. West is this way, or it's a circle around, okay? West is a circle around the North Pole, right? Get a compass, hold it near a magnet, so it points north. Try to push it west or east, and that it'll just go around. It'll go around. It'll make you go in a circle, okay? It makes you go in a circle, right? Just like this. Here's a magnet. Here's a compass, and I'm pushing it, and it goes in a circle. And that's going west. It brings me right back to where I started from, right? I go west, right? And that's the same on a globe. On a globe, if you go west from wherever, you go in the same direction. East is a circle also. But right here, if I try to go west and I don't correct to the north to maintain my compass heading, I'm heading south. South is away from north. That's south. That's south. Every straight line will bring you south eventually, and it'll bring you to the Antarctic shoreline, or some people call it the ice wall, right? So that works.
The very last thing I have right now, and I appreciate your time. I just am running out of time
Let me just finish.
with what I have to do today.
Just the last there. The last point there is you can't go south and circumnavigate on a flat Earth, and guess what? Nobody's ever done that.
So, what's your message to Alaskans who have no idea about this theory, or they're just looking at it for the first time? What's your message for those folks out here who are just curious and open-minded in Alaska?
My message is don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything you're told until you verify it yourself. Verify all things. If you have access to the web, go to flatearthdave.com, scroll down to the crash course. It's free. It's just a list of videos. And watch those videos. You can't get through 3 of them without becoming a globe denier. Okay, I don't want to call you a flat earther because you might be offended by that. A globe denier. Once you understand that you don't live on a globe, your whole life frees up. All the lies fade away. All of the control goes away. It's an amazing journey. So don't believe anything I say. Go verify it, but Google isn't going to serve it to you. They're going to hide it from you. That should make you very curious, right? Go to flatearthdave.com. Check out the videos there. There's a years of videos. Just watch them and make up your own mind, and then go out and do your own experiments.
Dave, thank you so much for your time on this today. I'm actually going to give you a call right after I get out of this interview with you.
Okay, thanks.